हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, 16th verse. You can repeat after me. नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नात्यस्नस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नाचैकान्तम् अनस्नतः
न चैकान्तम् मनस्नतः
नाचाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नाचैकान्तम् अनस्नतः
न चैकान्तम् मनस्नतः
नाचाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नाचैकान्तम् मनस्नतः
न चैकान्तम् मनस्नतः
नाचाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
Anyone would like to recite the verse?
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नात्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
न चैकान्तम् मनस्नतः
न चैकान्तम् अनस्नतः
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन।
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन। Anyone else? Okay, we'll go for synonyms. Na,
No,
never.
never.
Ati,
Ati,
too much.
too much.
Asnataha,
Asnataha,
of one who eats.
of one who eats.
To,
But
yogaha,
yogaha,
linking with the supreme.
linking with the supreme.
Asti,
Asti,
there is.
there is.
Na, nar.
Nor.
Cha, also. Ekantam,
Ekantam,
overly.
Anasnataha,
Abstaining from eating.
abstaining from eating.
Na, nar.
Nor.
Cha, also. Ati, too much. Swapnashilasya, of one who sleeps. Jagrataha, or one who keeps night watch too much. Na, not.
Not.
Eva, ever.
Ever.
Cha, and. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: there is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. purport. Regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals because there is an ample supply of grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to the Bhagavad Gita. Animal food is for those in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reactions because of eating only polluted things. Bunjate te twagam papa e pachanti atma karanat. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. One who eats sin and eats more than is allotted to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It is best that one eat only the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. A person in Krishna consciousness does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. Nor can one who artificially abstains from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. One who eats more than required will dream very much while sleeping, and he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 hours, 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. So translation once again, there is no possibility of once becoming a yogi. Oh Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleep too much or does not sleep enough. Okay, stop here. Okay, so we are at the section like where in the sixth chapter is titled with the name Dhyana Yoga, and we are at the section where 16 to 23 verses, which 10 to 32 verses, which says practice to perfection of yoga. So how can we achieve from practice to perfection? So that one will achieve perfection when one is practicing yoga. And Krishna is saying here how one can practice yoga and how can they attain perfection. So Krishna will start again now here, basics over here. And what does he says over here? Let's see the verse. Na means never. Ati means too much. Asnata means of one who eats. So eating is in Sanskrit called as asnataha. So natyasnatastu yogosti. So one who never eats too much, that person performs yoga. Yogosti, linking with the supreme. Yoga means linking with the supreme. Okay, next na chaikantam. Ekantam means overly. Na chekantam, who don't overly anasnataha. So who don't overeating. So who, that's what like two lines it says. Then na chati swapna silasya. Swapna is dream. Swapna shila means one who sleeping. So one who should not oversleep, like long hours. And jagrato naiva charjuna, one who should not one who does not get sleep enough. So all these four, like this verse, it goes all or na. It's kind of like negation kind of thing. So Krishna says here, one who perform or who want to become a yogi, who want to link with the supreme, and Krishna is saying in this verse, all or no. These and all should not be there in their practice of yoga. And next verse it says what and all should be there. Like it's kind of this verse speaks about all our no's, do's and don'ts, like that we say, right? So these are don'ts in this verse, and next verse says all our do's. Okay, so Krishna here is recommending that balancing life. So Prabhupada would say, like, if you sleep too much, what will become? We will become lazy. And if we sleep less, will become crazy. It means that if we don't have enough sleep, what will happen? We don't know how we behave, like, whole day, how to react to the situations in the life. So what is happening here? If we sleep less, it will become crazy. If we sleep more, we will become lazy. So that's what Prabhupada says. So in the same way, with respect to of eating also, if we eat too less, we won't get enough strength to engage in the service of Krishna. And if we eat too, like, more food, then what will happen? We don't get, like, we will get, like, as this verse is saying, too much of food leads to sleep. So to digest that food, and we will become ourselves like a heavy. That is also, it's too bad to engage in the service of Krishna. So we don't feel, if we eat more food, we don't feel energized. And if we don't eat, we don't feel, like, strength enough. So how can we balance that one? So Srila Prabhupada said in the Purport, don't eat too much means eating meat, and and he talks about that one, like, like, don't eating meat. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. And Prabhupada says, one who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 hours in a day, then they are influenced by the mode of ignorance. So here, all like, qualities, or the lifestyle of a yogi. How can he design his lifestyle which is conducive to their practice of yoga? So that's how it's this verse is described. Then it's in a broad, like, sleepless, getting more sleeps, all these things. See, it's not like, if we need, our body need according to our physical situation. If the body needs 7 hours sleep or 8 hours sleep, we have to take that much, and we should not extend like more than that. And basically this eating, sleeping, and the purpose of the result of that one should be engage in more and more service for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the motivation. Normally it says that when serious devotee is defined by his sincere purpose and sincere urgency, it means that whatever activities the yoga, here it called as yogosti, means yogi, whatever activities he do, he design in such a way that one, the body he use more and more in the service of the Krishna. And whatever conducive to make that body more in service, to use in the service of Krishna, that kind of things he adopt in his lifestyle. So here, eating, sleeping, it's talking. So we fast for the ekadashis and all, but the motivation behind the austerity is important. It's not like every ekadashi we are fasting, that's correct. Or sometimes people may fast only for the weight loss, or to make diet, or something, like they do some kind of cycles of a diet, and these many days I need to fast, and our particular 7th day or 15th day I need to fast, like that. But the motivation behind that one is important. So if the yogi just, like, for the bodily consciousness, if he do, that is not the yoga. Yoga means to linking with the supreme. Whatever activities the yogi do with the help of the body, that should be in the consciousness, or that activity should make him go closer to the Krishna. So that is the one. That's why purpose and urgency, whatever the purpose behind the activities, are more important than the activity. So that's why here, fasting or eating less, eating more. So basically Krishna is not suggesting here eat too less and spoil your health. No, it's not the point of, we should not take like that. And Krishna is not saying, like, even Prabhupada is not saying more than 6 hours if you sleep, you are taking that one statement. We can't take, we should not take that one, oh, I sleep 7 hours, that means that I'm in mode of ignorance. It's not like one statement won't judge the people. Because if a devotee if his body needs or maximum devotee sleep 5 to 7 hours sleep. Some may be able to sleep 5 hours. That is sufficient for them to run the body for the rest of the day. But some people need 7 hours sleep, then that's fine. Like, until unless we don't go the motivation behind that one, I want to become lazy, or oh okay, let me take rest. It's not like that. But if your body needs minimum that sleep, that's fine. If the sleep is going to give us the strength to get that body engaged in the service of Krishna, then absolutely we can take a nap of 7 hours like that. But the motivation should be right. Like, it's not like only for our sense gratification we are sleeping. So that is the purpose. That is the understanding we need to take from the Srila Prabhupada purport. And some people, like, if we take acharyas, like, they sleep, like even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sleeps 2 hours or 3 hours. And even Srila Prabhupada slept like 2-3 hours. Then the rest of the night he wrote the books, like, so even Arjuna is one of the name of Arjuna is Gudakesha. Gudakesha means who conquered the sleep. So he's a devotee of Krishna, so, and he conquered the sleep. So he can continue his practice or his daily life without sleep completely. So it depends, level 1 to 1 it differs, but the motivation is not like, conquering the sleep. At the same time, if we are conquering the sleep, and then how well I'm using my body in the service of Krishna, that is the ultimate objective of whatever lifestyle the yogi acquires. So ultimate objective of the yogi is to go closer to Krishna. If that way he designs his life, and he adopt that kind of practices in his life. And by following few from the Acharya's instruction, by following from few senior devotee suggestions, and by following according to the health and time, place, and circumstances situation, like that. So that is the what this verse is saying. Like, this body is like a car. So if we put the car, that's we need to see, if I'm going in the car, I need to take care of the car. So I need to put the fuel, and I need to put maintenance, go for the tires and oil change, all these things I need to maintain it. So if I don't maintain the car properly, I can't drive it, and I can't use the car properly, and in time duration the car gets spoils, and it starts giving trouble. In the same way, the body is like a vehicle for us to go towards to Krishna. So we need to take care of for the maintenance, we need to take care of the vehicle. So according to the time, place, circumstances, according to our age, health, and everything, we need to take care of the body, because we consider this body is a vehicle to go to Krishna. So if our vehicle is good enough, then we will travel. If our vehicle is like, if we negligence, or if we don't take care of the body, then the vehicle is not support us to travel towards to Krishna. So that's why even in this COVID situation, a lot of people get a, like, some crazy ideas gets, oh, we are devotees, we don't get anything, like that. No, it's not like that. Prabhupada never said, like, don't, I know we are all becoming a devotees, don't go and enter like I'm a devotee, nothing will happen, Krishna will protect me, and don't go enter into the cage of the tiger. So that's not like, understanding. We have to be protect our body according to the nature. Tiger is like, wild animal, we should not, it's our fault, we should not go closer to that one. So we need to protect our body and use that body as a vehicle to go towards to Krishna. So that is the purpose of our life. We need to spiritualize to our body, our life, to go towards to Krishna. And when we go, we connect the whole life to Krishna, then what will happen? That's how we make Shri Krishna as a purpose of our life. So by using this body in the service of Krishna, we will make what is the purpose of our life is to attain Krishna. So that's what Krishna is talking here, but in a negative point way, don't do like that. All don'ts here Krishna describes, and all do's comes in the next verse. So he'll talk positive point of view in the next verse. This is the negative point of view. What and all should not do yogi for his practice of sadhana. So that's what I have for this verse. If anybody have any comments or questions, please go ahead.
Very nicely explained, Vallabhi, even though it's a simple verse, and I liked your point about that we should not deliberately put ourselves in danger thinking, oh, we are devotees, Krishna will protect us, you know. Especially during these COVID times, you know, we need to take full precautions.
Yes.
Thank you, Vallabhi Gopi Mataji. Very wonderful class. Just want to add one comment to it is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has suggested that 3 things, you know. First, we have to take care of health, then our sadhana, then the seva. So
Yeah.
these are the, like, you know, the importance given in that health should be given first priority, then our sadhana, our own chanting, you know, following rules and regulations, and then service. But we in ISKCON other way around, we do first service, then we do sadhana, and then we neglect our health. So
Yeah.
just want to add that one.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for adding that one. Even Srila Prabhupada also says health is first.
So true, Shuddha Bhakti.
Yeah, and then that's how we have seen in Prabhupada's life. When he had his heart attack in New York, you know, doctor told him to go for a walk at least 15 minutes or half an hour, whatever. So Prabhupada, from that day onwards, wherever, in spite of he traveling, doesn't matter which country he was going, but still he continued to keep his walking. So we have so much treasure of nectar coming from those walks. So we see that how Prabhupada has shown by his example to take care of our health.
And the doctor actually irreverently said the old man is not doing exercise or something like that, you know. And then the devotee said, oh, Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, the doctor is right, you know, even though he said it like that, he said he's right, you know. And he took his advice fully, and, you know, and started walking, like you said, Shuddha Bhakti.
Thank you, Mataji, adding that one. And anybody have anything to add? Or any corrections or any? Okay, if no one has anything, we'll go for the next verse. I'll share my screen. So next verse is 670. We'll decide the verse for 2 times and we will go for the synonyms and translations. Okay. Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktacheshtasya karmashu.
Yuktacheshtasya karmasu.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktacheshtasya karmashu.
Yuktacheshtasya karmasu.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktacheshtasya karmashu.
Yuktacheshtasya karmasu.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yuktasvapnavabodhasya.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
So synonyms: yukta,
Yukta,
regulated;
regulated.
ahara,
Ahara,
eating;
eating.
viharasya,
Viharasya,
recreation;
recreation.
yukta,
Yukta,
regulated;
regulated.
cheshtasya,
Cheshtasya,
of one who works for maintenance;
of one who works for maintenance.
karmashu,
Karmasu,
in discharging duties;
in discharging duties.
yukta,
Yukta,
regulated;
regulated.
swapnavabodhasya,
Swapnavabodhasya,
sleep and wakefulness;
sleep and wakefulness.
yogaha,
Yogaha,
practice of yoga;
practice of yoga.
bhavati,
Bhavati,
becomes;
becomes.
dukkhaha,
Dukkhaha,
diminishing pains.
Diminishing pains.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Purport. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyartha kalatvam. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakura Haridasa would not even accept prasadam nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 times, 1,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest, and thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Translation once again. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Okay, so in this verse, Krishna is saying all the do's, so let's see this verse. Yukta, yuktahara. Yukta means regulated. Ahara means eating. Yuktahara viharasya. Vihara means recreation or kind of enjoyment or refreshment to the body or thoughts, recreation, that one, which gives refreshment. Then yukta means again regulated. Chestasya means the work. So the one who works for maintenance, existence, material existence. Karmashu, in discharging duties. So who regulated their eating and who regulated their work for maintaining them. And third one is Yukta Swapnava Bodhasya, again regulated Swapnava Bodhasya, who regulated their sleep and wakefulness both. Then what is that one? Yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Yoga means the practice of yoga. Bhavati becomes dukkhaha, diminishing of pains. Dukkha means miseries. Dukkhaha means free from misery. So that's what it says. Who regulated the eating habit, recreation, sleeping, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So let's see the words by one after the other, all these qualities which described here. So here yukta in Bhagavad Gita, see these three words: yoga, yogi, yukta. These three used more frequently in the Bhagavad Gita. So here it says yukta hara viharasya. So regulating the vihara. So what is that? Vihara means recreation. So here the recreation is not kind of like a material enjoyment or any sense gratification kind of thing. So we need to understand this recreation is kind of refreshment. even in the yogi who sits in the as described in the initial verses of starting verses of 6th chapter, like he has to sit high to the floor, and you should not sit too high and sit on the deer screen. All these things described, right? Even the yogi who performs that kind of sadhana also, so he get refreshment by just getting up in the middle and walk sometime, and seeing the nature, and they sense the Lord in everything in the nature. So that is kind of refreshment, recreation. So that's what we need to say. It's not like recreation means entertainment, how the normally in point of view, materialistic point of view will take. No, this is viharasya. Regulation vihara for the devotees is the recreation should how the devotee sees the recreation is, the recreation should give refreshment and more energetic to go back to the service of Krishna. That is called recreation. It's not like recreation means some comfortness to the senses, or I feel good if I go to this place, or if I mingle with these people. It's not like that. So recreations, like once Prabhupada, once one devotee or from or some press person asked, what do you do for recreation? Then Prabhupada said, we do only recreation. It means that, see, Prabhupada explained, we eat prasadam, and we work for Krishna. So that is recreation only. We are not in the center anywhere in any activity. So we do only recreation. So, but the person didn't understand that little bit. Prabhupada explained the prasadam we eat, it's offered to Krishna, and it's and we have a lot of festivals one after the other. So throughout the year we have festivals, and throughout the year we have appearance and disappearance of the acharyas who give blessings on us, and throughout the year we have a lot of book distribution and all these functions. So all these things, these and all called as recreation. Recreation means which boost up our energy to go towards to Krishna. So that is called the devotee's point of view, the recreation is. It's not like recreation means an enjoyment, keeping our senses in the center, that kind of thought or that kind of mood or that kind of enjoyment which takes us away from Krishna. That is not the recreation. Recreation for the devotees is which makes them go more deeper and closer to Krishna. So that's what, if that may differ from one person to another person. So one may feel refreshment by hearing something, or walking on the jungle, or they cleaning something, or cooking for Krishna. So, or sometimes gathering all together and talk about Krishna, sharing about their experiences. So everything is different way. One may love to work in the devotees when they are doing service. So this recreation is different than the material recreation. So that's what here the recreation means. Here regulation recreation means sense gratification. So recently I heard one statement, Srila Prabhupada said, it seems so bodily comfortness is also considered as sense gratification. So normally we feel to keep our body in a comfortable situation, we try for that one. So when we make that efforts towards to that point where we can feel comfortable and secure, that is also called as sense gratification. If a devotee, if a person in Krishna consciousness working so hard to keep themselves in a comfortable situation, that is one kind of sense gratification. That's what I heard. So, but it means that one, wherever we are, even in a comfort zone or uncomfort zone, wherever we are, but our goal should be, our purpose of life should be the Sri Krishna. That's what Prabhupada said, that's what our motivation also all the acharyas has given. So the recreation which is making us go far from our services, from our spiritual life, then that is very, very danger, and that is called a sense gratification. But the recreation, or that kind of enjoyment, or that kind of energy which boost up to go closer to Krishna in our services, by mingling with the association with all the people, taking people association, means it's kind of what is association means, exchanging our thoughts and desires each other is association. It's not only being in the devotees, around the devotees, that is not only the association. That should be thoughts of exchange between the persons. So we feel like, we inspire by others by seeing others. That means that we get motivation by seeing them, their service. So that means that there is an exchange between their desire and Krishna in the center, basically. So that is called as real association. It's not like physically we present around the devotees. That's not enough for the word association. Association means we share the thoughts, and we hear the thoughts, and we get inspiration and motivation from others. That's where the association is. So that's where the it comes. So vihara for the devotee is the environment which makes them like get boost up their energy to go into the service of Krishna, to move closer to Krishna. That is the recreation, the positive recreation. And the recreation of means that the material senses for the sense gratification. If we do any kind of enjoyment, that is not conducive to the devotional service. That's what here it says, like, we don't make material spiritual advancement if we don't regulate our sense gratification or this kind of material entertainments. That's what the first line says. Yukta viharasya. Regulate the viharasya means this one. And ahara. Ahara means eating. So eating means in Nectar of Instructions, the atyahara prayashascha. So one of the quality which makes atyahara prayashascha, that quality, atyahara, eating more than necessary, is going to be make us fall in the devotional service. That means that we are not here to, we have to, so once the person comes to Krishna consciousness, comes to a level in time duration of time, not immediately get in touch in Krishna consciousness, stop eating or regulating. No, because that is the prasadam. Through the prasadam, Krishna makes miracles. That is the source where we get connect closer to Krishna, because that is offered to Krishna, the prasadam. And even in preaching also, devotees use prasadam like in a weapon. First is, nobody says no to the prasadam. They may say no to the book, and they may say something, I don't have a time to come to the class, or I don't have a time to hear, but nobody says anything to no to prasadam. So prasadam plays an important role to spread Krishna consciousness. And at the same time, for the new people also, prasadam is the first thing which they accept it. So even they won't listen, or they don't see the books, or they don't know anything, but they eat the prasadam. So it's not here regulate the eating means, this is for the person who is in a kind of already practice, a kind of little bit progress in the sadhana. So regulating means it's not like overeating. So I live for only eating, that is the atyahara. I live for eating, no, that is atyahara. So that's not like that state, the person who practicing Krishna consciousness already in the journey, he realizes that is not my goal. So the initial stage, the prasadam they need to take, that this atyahara won't come there, because that is the initial stage. They have to take prasadam, and through the prasadam, it transforms the heart of the newcomers. So atyahara comes, regulation of the eating comes for the person who is already in practice. It means that, why to regulate the eating, sleeping, all these things it's coming means, see, consider Prabhupada has given the 4 regulative principles, and on that one we need to chant 16 rounds. So if we live a life there where we can't chant, we can't follow that minimum 4 regulative principles, we can follow 4 regulative principles, but we don't get a time to chant the 16 rounds, then we need to think what's going on in the life. So because we committed as a devotee, we committed that promises to in front of the Guru or in front of the Prabhupada, then we need to follow. So to follow that one, we need to change our lifestyle. To change that lifestyle, what can we do to make see, recently I heard a statement from Mahatma Prabhu. He says that if life is so busy and can't able to do minimum sadhana, then the person has to think about his lifestyle. You are running like on the wheels of mode of ignorance. Too much of anxieties are there. So we need to think and change our lifestyles in a little bit, which is going to help to make us to practice at least minimum 16 rounds and all the practices which is defined by the acharya. So that means that we need to make plan our life, or we need to design our lifestyle by keeping Krishna in the center, by keeping our sadhana in the center. So to make that one only, this do's and don'ts comes. So it's kind of a detailed depth helping steps to practice the sadhana in our daily way. So if you see the daily life as a devotee, Prabhupada designed in such a way, anyone who can work any kind of job, they can easily practice. So Manglarti, morning times they don't do anything. So they can attend, and after that one class, after that one prasad, then go to the job and come back 9 to 5 or 6 o'clock and come back, attend the Aarti and again Bhagavad Gita class and go back to the sleep. But now we have so much so that this advancement of the knowledge, it came, we have night shifts, releases, all these things. But still, we can make it in such a way. It's okay, we can't do early morning chanting, then make it in some way, some other time. But thing is, we need to we need to show our interest and our sincerity. We are struggling. We know that when we are struggling according to our present lifestyles, but we need to put our efforts sincerely, begging for the mercy of Krishna and begging for the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it seems, mercy, how can we get the mercy of Krishna? Through the devotees. So same Mahatma Prabhu says in one chanting video, he says that one, we should not block that mercy by fault finding or criticizing the devotees. So if we do that one, we are ourselves are blocking that mercy. That means, so we are making stumbling blocks. We are only like, piling up a wall in our practice life of our sadhana, or practice of our spiritual life, by finding fault in others or by criticizing others, like that. So it means when we get that kind of thought, immediately I'm blocking myself from the mercy of Krishna. So we need to get that thought, like, that's what I heard from my realization from the talk, like, of Mahatma Prabhu. So when we get that kind of thought, think about yourself. I am the one who is going to affect by this block. So we need to take care of that one. So that's why, like, don't criticize the people, don't finding fault. That's where the mercy comes through the devotees. The mercy of Krishna comes through the devotees. So that is the one, like, which makes, especially the mercy. Without mercy, we can't do it. We can't even sincerely practice our life. See, yogi means he'll leave everything and go into the jungle. That time they don't have any responsibilities like a family or something. They design their life. Okay, this time morning I need to get up and I do all these things, and this time is I do this one, and this time is I do this one. But in our practical with family and this present Kali Yuga life, we design our life. Okay, this time this much, this time this much, but next day itself something may come and everything will get changes. So we want to put our efforts, we want to design our life, but something due to the responsibilities, all these things, like, what will happen? The wave comes, and what will happen? Then everything will get shake. Then still we need to be determined. Okay, it's happening like this, but still Krishna, I want to do. So Krishna's mercy will come if we put our efforts. What may come, I want to stick to the sadhana, to the Krishna. So that's determination comes, like, by regulating all these things. It's not, it may look like, it's saying that when eating, sleeping, regulating all these things like that, but these changes, by regulating all these things, we can see in a long term, not in a, like, the perception. We don't have that purity to see. If I practice, like, oh, I'm doing early morning chanting from past like 40 years, like, I'm not seeing. No, that definitely that your austerity is there, the benefit is coming, but we don't have the purity to perceive the reciprocation of Krishna. So that is the thing. We get questions like that. Oh, okay, all these things I heard, I'm still doing, and I don't get taste. So it's not like, that's what last time when I shared, we read like one thing article by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, right? So I forgot 3 things like which give taste. So I think one is association, one is desire, and the other one I forgot. So my Kali Yuga brain, I forgot all the things. So if I find, I will share again. So 3 things he says that one. So taste comes from these sources. So one is association, the second one is sincere desire, and third one is something else I forgot. Okay, so that is the what is happening. So these activities, it may be because these are the daily routine activities. We can't live without these activities. And when we make progress by making that one as a tool to our spiritual practice, definitely we will get like, in time duration, the mercy, the spiritual advancement by following the instructions of the Srila Prabhupada. And in the purport, it says the people who don't offer food and eat, so it says like, if they eat only verily sin. So that says, that verse is there in 313. It says, Agnesistashinaha santo muchyante Akil Bishai, Bunjate Twa Gamam Papam Epachanti Atma Karana. So the people who keep themselves in the center and they don't offer the food and they eat directly means they only eat sin only. So that's what it says. So the material life and spiritual life in our, like, present is, the two are parallel lines. They have to, like, we have time of material life and they have time of spiritual life, but balancing both two, that's where, like, the devotee or the mercy of the senior acharyas, everything comes in the picture. In that balance, we can't ignore material life and we can't ignore the spiritual life, but we need to balance both as a parallel lines, as a rail tracks. So that comes by the mercy of the devotees. That's what it's saying here. So when we regulate our practice, what will happen? Yogo bhavati dukkha. So the dukkha means the miseries of this material world. Dukkha, it ends. So that's what it says. Sometimes, like, we feel that one, okay, I want to finish my chanting. Like that, but fast we will do it completely. I want to finish my chanting. Sometimes we do, how long I'm doing my rounds are not done, like that. We feel like, due to the lifestyle, we feel like that kind of stress. But thing is, we need to, one day in our life, in our practice, one day we need to develop, I want to chant too, I love to chant, like that. So sometimes there are 3 things: I need to chant, I want to chant, I love to chant. So need to chant is kind of a commitment. Okay, I committed, I need to chant. It's my commitment. As for the sake of commitment, I'm doing my chanting. So I'm taking chanting as an austerity. We can do anything like offering, fasting, or whatever austerity we can take. Then I want chant. I want chant means, okay, I committed and I love my Maharaj and I committed, I am bound, then I want chant. Okay, I want to follow the instruction of my guru. I want to follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Then I love to chant. When it comes, I love to chant. See, first want and need are there. We are in the center because I committed. I want to chant. When it comes to the love, what will happen? Krishna will come. That time, for that level, what will happen? Krishna, I want to give pleasure by my chanting. That realization comes. I love to chant means, so that means that I want to give pleasure to you. So otherwise we can pray in that way. Please give me the strength to please you with my chanting. So please give me the strength, because we don't have a strength to please God. We don't have a strength like, taste to the holy name. That's completely we understand. But we can pray to the Lord, give me the strength to please you with my chanting. There, who is in the center? Krishna is in the center. It's not like I'm doing, but I'm doing for your pleasure. And where the strength? You give me the strength to please you. So everywhere the Krishna is there. So that's why we need to move all our activities keeping Krishna in the center. I'm doing this, that's correct. But for your pleasure, the key word, what will happen? We will read, we will meditate, but when it comes in practical, when we engage in the service, like I'm telling about myself, it goes off. It goes off in time duration. So what will happen? We need to keep remember, pull back the Krishna. How much we pull in our service, in our austerities, in our thoughts, the Krishna, that much we go closer to Krishna. That's how these practices are designed in Bhakti Yoga. That's where Bhakti is Bhakti Pareshanubhava. It's a direct reciprocation from the Lord. It's direct experience, Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmam. So it's kind of direct reciprocation from the Lord. It's not somewhere else is there, like, why we are even sitting here also. We, each and everyone we are who are reading now in the call, they have reciprocation from the Krishna. That's why we are here. That's why they have reciprocation through Krishna may show reciprocation through devotees, or through sending some messages from other devotees. So we all have that reciprocation. That is the biggest proof Krishna's reciprocation is there. So many we may, like, Krishna, we may not get prayer answered immediately, our prayers, but Krishna answered lot of our unanswered prayers, like, which we never offered prayers, but Krishna still reciprocated. With all that reciprocation, we are sitting here and discussing Bhagavad Gita. So that is the way we can sense Krishna. Krishna is reciprocating, but he is changing our lives in such a way that to make us closer to him. That's his plan. So we may, as a child is, we may say that I want this, or something may come, like, in our, I said that some wave comes in our life, means we get, like, shake like anything. But that wave, if we leave to Krishna, that wave, see, last time I think in morning class or something, so that verse, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, Swayam Eva Spuradhyataha. That time, like, we spoke. Spuradhyataha means reveal himself. Smarana means we remember, it's our effort. Okay. Spuradhyata means that there is Krishna, by engaging our tongue, Krishna himself reveals. That effort is there from Krishna's side. So that how we comes, like, if we are swimming in the ocean, we want to go to one direction. So consider, if one wave comes and pushes us towards to the direction, we go faster and we reach the destination. So that wave is Krishna's mercy. We struggle ourselves to go to that direction, sincerely putting our efforts. But if we leave that wave to Krishna, without we holding that wave, I want to design that wave in such a way, that one like that. If we don't interfere in that wave, then by seeing our efforts, Krishna sends the wave in such a way where we push towards to Krishna, in, like, how the wave pushes that towards to the direction, like that. We make drastic progress. We move drastically closer to Krishna if we keep Krishna in the center. That's where, like, we need to give our life freely to Krishna, like that, it says. So I like that example of the wave, and the verse also. Swayam Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, Nabhavim Grahyam Indriye, Sevon Mukehi Jihvadav, Swayam Eva Sprudyataha. So Swayam Eva, Krishna has to reveal his name, Krishna has to reveal his form. He himself has to, with his mercy only we can understand. That's what Srila Prabhupada also says. It's because of Krishna's mercy one can understand Krishna. And because of devotees' mercy, one can get touch in Krishna devotional service. They can understand scriptures by the Acharya's mercies. But Krishna, to understand Krishna, he has to himself give his mercy. So that is the wave we need to invite, like, let the wave push us closer to Krishna. So let it come, like, in that way, that one would, so that we can move very fast towards to Krishna. So that's where to make that wave, like, all this happens, we want to show our efforts to Krishna. So that's where this main eating, sleeping, recreation, work, which we can't live without all these things. But when we regulate all these things, we are giving our life to Krishna. That's it. When we regulate our eating, it means that we are using the vehicle properly, maintaining properly the vehicle of the body, and we are engaging our body properly in the service of Krishna. We go closer to Krishna, like that. So I'll stop here. If anybody have any realizations or corrections, please go ahead. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vallabhi Gopi. It's very nice explanation. I really liked it. The way you put everything and you made it understand the two slokas, Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, and Bhagishta Srila Prabhupada. Okay, any other comments?
I also like that you said we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves if we need some extra sleep. I like that.
Yeah, if that is going to provide us strength, energy to go to engage as our body in the Krishna, then we need it. We can take it. Okay, if no one has any question, today is a special day. So two personalities are, 1 second, I need to open the window. So today is Raghunandan Thakur disappearance day. Let's read. It's a small about Raghunandan Thakur. I'll share my screen. Give me a second. Yeah. So this is Srila Raghunandan Thakur, and today is his disappearance day. And let's read about him. It's a few. Yeah. Anyone would like to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sri Mukunda Das, Madhava Das, and Sri Narahari Sarkar Thakur were three brothers who lived in the village of Sri Khanda. Raghunandan was the son of Sri Mukunda Das, Chaitanya Chaitamrita Madhyalila 15. In the house of Sri Mukunda Das, who lives at Sri Khanda, Lord Sri Gopinath is served with great devotion. One day, Mukunda was called out to do some work, and then he instructed his son Raghunandan to worship the deity and asked him to serve the Lord Gopinath that day. He explained to him that this deity is in our family for many generations, and thus he has been worshipped by my father and his father and his father, on and on. In this way, for many years, just as your mother feed you and I every day, so also he has to be fed every day. Having explained to Raghunandan that this is a very big responsibility and he should be very careful to give his full attention to this service, Mukunda went out. Raghunandan, meanwhile, having been instructed by his father, collected the items for offering to Sri Gopinathji and entered into the deity room. Raghunandan was at that time barely 5 years old, and therefore, when he saw that Gopinath hadn't eaten the offering after he had imitated how his father offered the bhoga, he became very worried. Ultimately, he simply requested Gopinath with tears in his eyes, please eat, please eat. Gopinath became completely subjugated by Raghunandan's simple request, which was made entirely in love, and thus he steadily ate up everything without leaving any remnants. After some time, Raghunandan's father, Mukunda, returned and asked his son if he had done as he was told. When his son replied yes, then Mukunda asked him to bring some of the prasadam. Raghunandan replied, Prasadam? I offered everything just like you told me, and Gopinath ate everything. So what should I bring you now? Mukunda was completely taken aback. This boy is not naughty and is always accustomed to speak the truth. I doubt if he could have eaten everything. I wonder what actually happened. Musing on this matter in this way for some time, on another day, his curiosity was so stirred that he again requested Raghunandan to offer the bhoga to Gopinath on that day. On this day, however, having gone out of the house, he again came in by another way and remained hidden in one place. Raghunandan was very happy to be able to serve Sri Gopinathji again and brought everything into the deity room. As before, he again very incessantly pursued Gopinath to take his meal. As Gopinath had eaten half of a laddu, he espied Mukunda peering out from his hidden spot. He didn't try to cover up the fact that he had eaten what he had, but neither did he eat any more. Seeing all this, Mukunda was completely immersed in ecstatic love and picked up his son and put on his lap. He extolled his virtues in a voice trembling with ecstasy, all the while torrents of tears of joy falling from his eyes. Even today, those who are greatly fortunate can still see that half-eaten laddu in Gopinath's lotus hand. Thus, Sri Uddhav Das sings the glory of Raghunandan, who is not different from Madan Cupid. Raghunandan was present at the Khetri Utsav. In Krishna Leela, he was Kandharpa Manjari, and in Dwarika Leela, he was Sri Krishna's son Kandharpa. Raghunandan's son is Kanai Thakur. His descendants are still residing at Srikhanda. Srikhanda can be easily reached from Katwa by bus or train. He was born in the year 1432 Skapta. Thank you, Mataji. And I just want to say one thing, that once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked to Mukunda, who is the son, who is the father among Raghunandan and Mukunda. So Mukunda said, he is my father and I am his son.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. 1 second.
Mataji, I think Vamshi Das Babaji's disappearance is too.
Yes, Mataji, I'm opening that one, but it looks like it's a very big article. Maybe let's see, like, you know, I don't know, we have a time, but I will share that link in the chat. If anybody want to read, they can read themselves. It's a big article about the Vamshi Das Babaji. Today is his disappearance too. I'm sharing this link in the chat. I think due to the time's constraint, so I will stop here, and if possible, we can read ourselves about Vamshi Das Babaji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all. I'll offer prayers to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Vallabhi Gopi
Ki
Mataji
jai.
ki jai.
Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.